Boy, did I ever get a lesson yesterday. Wow. Hi, everybody. Thomas Miller on the Subconscious Mind Mastery Podcast. I can't wait to just share you this little chapter from my life. A couple episodes back, I told the story of what happened in March of 2024 when I was crossing the country related to my family. I'm not dwelling on that to not give it any energy and also to respect the healing process that I hope is underway. Certainly have set it as an intention. But the basis of this story is that story. Remember, since March 2024, this is now June 2024, there's been no communication. Couple of emails, but then silence, space, healing. And it is. It's like those people that I was so excited to go see are now all gone. It's like a natural disaster hit. 8 people total, 5 adults, 3 grandchildren. I hope as you're just listening to that and letting that sink in, the enormity of it, because it has. That's how it's felt. It's been huge. The pain has been enormous. In my family, overall, the years have taken their toll. Most are gone. Dad in 2000, Mom in 2013, aunts and uncles, grandparents, all gone. I have 2 cousins, one on the East Coast, one on the West Coast. I moved from the East Coast to the West Coast. My cousin on the East Coast now has 11 grandchildren, so she's very busy. My cousin on the West Coast, now that I'm about, maybe 4 hours away from, lives in a little artsy beach town just south of the U.S. border in Mexico, living her absolute dream. She is an artist by heart, Pisces by sign, totally fits a Piscean. I had not been down to see her yet because I needed to heal. I mean, the move was disruptive enough, and then I just needed some healing time for myself. There's no way that 3 months is enough. It will take longer. But I had gotten to the point where I wanted to reach out, and I wanted to see about getting together. In fact, she had been on my mind quite a bit over the past 2 weeks. Then I got a text from my other cousin, who said that my West Coast cousin, her name is Lynn, was in the hospital, recently diagnosed with an aggressive form of leukemia. She was in otherwise very good health. Once again, in the matter of reading a text, my family world shattered again. I drove down yesterday as I'm recording this, the day after, driving down to where she is in the hospital to visit. But this is the oh my, eye-opening epiphany. It came together as I was driving back. I don't like traffic. You guys know that. There was a bunch of it, and I took a back road that ended up taking me through an Indian reservation and driving way off the road, out of cell range in Southern California. I mean, it's like, wow. And it was in the openness of that more undeveloped terrain that the epiphanies started to flow. So basically, this was discovered late, and that's part of the story we'll come back to in a second. But they immediately told her to get to the hospital and started chemo treatments instantly. My understanding is they had to give her some medicine to try to support her kidneys because my understanding is this level of treatment could compromise her kidneys. When I saw her yesterday, she had been receiving treatments 4 days. She said not through an IV, it was more into the stomach directly, kind of like insulin injections. Now, you would expect somebody who already has compromised blood, 4 days of blast chemo treatment, no telling what other medicines they gave her to offset the offsets. Yesterday was day 6 or 7 of being in the hospital anyway. There were a couple of days of diagnostic testing. I truly had no idea what condition or state she would be in. I peeked through the window, knocked on the door, eased my way in to find my cousin laying in bed, perfectly normal. I mean, it's, from all appearances, why are you here? She's in her mid-70s and just, like I say, otherwise an epitome of health. Very active, maintains an art studio where she sells her products, has a ton of friends all up and down the West Coast, travels extensively from San Francisco down to Mexico, back and forth, doing art shows, all kinds of activities. And that's who I saw yesterday. Her color was great. Her energy level was vibrant. She's been laying in bed for 6 days, so she does get up and walk, and there is a little dizziness with that, as to be expected. But all in all, was just doing phenomenally well. It was like, wow. Now, this is where the aha started to brew up. So I'm observing that, like, wow, she is in really good shape. And I'm thinking to myself, if that was me, I would no way be in that kind of condition. And as we were talking, she told me a story back from way long time ago. I mean, this was back when she was basically just out of college and had moved out to the West Coast to establish she wanted to live on the West Coast. Always was one of those who, kind of like Robert Glasscock, just decided that's where I want to be. She came out to California right after college. Well, she was back home for a holiday, and they were out to a family dinner, and my parents were there. She said she could see my mom just trying to eye for the opportunity to share the gospel with her one more time. She said they were leaving the restaurant, and finally my mom got her off to the side just enough to say, "Have you prayed to receive Jesus as your Savior?" My cousin knew exactly what was going on. I mean, this wasn't something new. My cousin looked at her and said, "You have to understand something. I'm a Buddhist." Silence. She said my mom processed it and said, well, okay. And she said that was the last time that conversation ever came up. But that's what hit me. Driving home, I thought about what is one of the most noted tenets of Buddhism. It's non-attachment. We could say everything just is. One of the 4 noble truths of Buddhism is the end of suffering. Now, if you knew my cousin Lynn, you'd fall in love with her. Like I said, she has friends all over the place. Still very close to a group of girls that she went to high school with. Still keeps in touch with a few college friends. She had a business career in an office, but her heart was in an art studio. She is a true Piscean, and when she retired, she went straight to doing her art. She became known for tire punk. In other words, she would go around and collect old, worn-out tires, dip them in paint, and paint clothes with them. They are so amazing. Like I say, artist at heart. She doesn't sweat the small stuff. She doesn't worry about being on time. She gets there when she gets there. She doesn't worry about alarm clocks. She gets up when she gets up. She is one of the most present people I have ever been around. To some, it might drive them kind of nuts. I love observing just her brilliant presence. So in the moment. Well, think about it. She's lived that way her entire life. She was born that way, and yes, she had to have a career where she, I'm sure, stepped out of some of that. But once she retired, she got right back to it. Never concerned herself with money. It just was always there. Health. She was always healthy. I'm talking a picture of not being attached to all the stuff that occupies our mind, our thoughts, and our worries. Now she's in her mid-70s, and she's been living that way for a long, long time. Now she gets leukemia. She has the same perspective. Yeah, gonna fight it, gonna beat it. I'll be okay. The treatment, that was the wow. She is not fazed by this massive chemotherapy because she simply is not attached to the disease. I'm telling you, there is not a more valuable lesson we could learn from my cousin Lynn. And I dare say that there are very few of us who could be in her position and have the same outcome. It has me reflecting on so many things about my own life and the way I do things and the way I handle things and the way I do fret and worry about things too much. As she is on this journey, I'm going to join her on my own journey of less attachment, being more present, just being more in the flow, being more in the zone, and truly not worrying about others' expectations or demands. Now, I know, look, you're saying, yeah, but I've got a job, I've got a family, I've got kids, I've got all nothing but demands and expectations. I get it. She raised a daughter. She had a demanding job. She had to do all the things that you and I have to do every day. It was her perspective that was different. She just didn't get all up in it. Never. Now, I know that's something we would all have to figure out how we would implement that for ourselves, in our own life, in our own situation. But I'm just saying, as you fast forward to the middle 70s in life, and now she's undergoing this incredible treatment and procedure. Her life is on the line, and yet she's taking it all in the same stride she's taken everything else. And I think because she has practiced this for so long, that's exactly why the chemo has not affected her any more than it has. You know, I hope that you'll take this lesson to heart. And like I said, it's something that we all have to implement and figure out on our own of what we would do in our own situation. But the power of this has just been huge for me. And I think the one thing that we could all take away is that there's no better time to start thinking this way than right now. Less attachment, less sweating the small stuff, being totally and completely present to the now. What a lesson. What a life lesson. What a legacy. I'm so privileged and proud not only to know her, but to also be in the same family. And Len, we're all pulling for you and sending you healing love. And thank you for letting me share this little chapter with you. I'm Thomas Miller. Please enjoy your unattached journey. Thanks for listening. We'll see you next time.